breastfeeding should not hurt. But so often it does. And it seems as if moms are left to just figure it out themselves or suffer in silence. And that's why I am here to get you answers and solutions so you can start bonding with your baby through breastfeeding the way you've always dreamed. How does that sound? Hey, Mama Bear. Welcome to the Breastfeeding with Confidence podcast. Do you dream of bonding with your baby through exclusive breastfeeding, but worry about breastfeeding pain or low milk supply? Maybe you're struggling with breastfeeding and no one seems to have any answers. I'm Jamie, doula, international board certified lactation consultant and mom of 5, and I have been where you are. After working through painful latches, milk supply worries, and postpartum depression, and supporting countless mothers through their breastfeeding journeys for over 8 years, I'm here to tell you breastfeeding doesn't have to be perfect to be positive. Each week, I'll share breastfeeding tips to help you prevent and overcome unexpected breastfeeding challenges so you can actually enjoy bonding with your baby. If you are ready to shut out the toxic whispers of the world, embrace your God-given intuition, and release your inner fierce mama bear, grab some coffee or your favorite herbal tea and let's dive in. This episode of the Breastfeeding with Confidence podcast is brought to you by Restorative Roots. Restorative Roots is ready-made organic meals designed to nourish your body and support true healing during postpartum. Visit restorativeroots.com or click the link in the show notes. Before we jump into today's topic, if you are a pregnant mother planning to breastfeed and you really want this to go well, you want to make sure you are really prepared. You have a birth plan, but you want to have a breastfeeding plan. I want you to visit littlebearlactation.com/plan to get a free copy of my breastfeeding plan template. And if you are a new mom who is struggling with breastfeeding, this episode is also for you. And if you decide that you would like to work with me or that you need some one-to-one help, there is information on how we can work together in the show notes. Let's get into this. Let's talk about this myth that breastfeeding is supposed to hurt. Okay, let me tell you. Every time I make a video on social media, Instagram, and I say anything like breastfeeding shouldn't hurt, pain is a red flag, not a rite of passage, people get big mad. And I really don't understand why. But I try to understand where people are coming from. And some people say that they're mad because saying breastfeeding shouldn't hurt is the same thing as telling moms that they're broken if it does. And I disagree with that. As a mom who has dealt with latching pain and had that feeling of brokenness, struggling with breastfeeding is not the part that I think makes women feel broken. Is struggling with breastfeeding hard? Yeah. Absolutely. After I have spent postpartum struggling with latching, 5 kids of my own and having very different experiences each time, and I have been supporting moms with breastfeeding since 2016, I can confidently say that women, we are strong and we are resilient. We can overcome challenges. We can overcome hardship. Hardship doesn't break us. The problem that leaves us feeling broken is when we ask for help and everyone tells us how important breastfeeding is, but then also says we just have to suffer through pain, that there's nothing that can be done, that it's normal, and we just have to wait and hope and pray. Or we're just told that, it's normal and our intuition is screaming that it's not normal. And that really feeds this broken feeling of, oh, should I not be trusting my intuition? Maybe I'm crazy. And that's a problem. So here's the deal. If you are breastfeeding right now, or you have breastfed in the past, and there was pain that was making it unbearable, you are dreading latching your baby. Every time you go to latch your baby and you're going to try a new technique, a new position, you're still tensing up and anticipating pain, and you're just losing your mind. You need to know this. You are not broken. The system that was supposed to support you and teach you is broken. So if breastfeeding pain is so dang common, but it's not, quote, normal, you can't see my air quotes, so I have to say it out loud. What are we supposed to do? First of all, this really does start early. I do say before you're pregnant, ideally, we should be learning about breastfeeding just by witnessing it and experiencing people around us breastfeeding and having challenges and overcoming those challenges from childhood. But that's not the reality for most of us. So as soon as you know breastfeeding is important to you, you should start learning about breastfeeding, whether you're pregnant or not. But if you're here, I'm guessing you're either pregnant or breastfeeding. So you need to start learning about it right now. And you're here, so you are. But we need to do more than just listen to podcasts. I love podcasts, but they do not give you the full picture either. So anyway, most classes that you take just teach you that superficial, fluffy stuff about breastfeeding, and it doesn't actually help when the shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? What you need to be learning about is your baby's reflexes and how to use them to support your feeding goals. So the problem is a lot of moms are taking like a hospital breastfeeding class or some like super like weird online crash course that doesn't go deep into all this stuff that you really need to know. So then they feel like they've done everything to prepare. And then when they have challenges that they weren't expecting, suddenly it feels like, okay, well, I did everything. I did all the things I was supposed to do. I took the classes, I read the books, I listened to the podcast, I saved the pins, I saved the reels, and now I'm struggling. And the lactation consultant shrugged her shoulders at the hospital, and the pediatrician shrugged his shoulders, and now I don't know what to do. And I did all the things. I did everything right, and it's not working, so I must be broken. Nope, that's a broken system that told you that you had to do XYZ, but didn't actually create XYZ to be XYZ. XYZ was actually LMNOP. It is 10 o'clock at night and I am drinking coffee. So sorry if that got a little weird, but it's okay, right? Thank you, by the way, for just sticking in here with me and dealing with my weirdness. I appreciate you for appreciating me despite being a little goofy sometimes. Let's get back to the topic at hand. The next thing that you really need to learn about is oral function. And you've probably heard that word a lot and you're like, okay, what does this even mean? But you don't need to be an expert, honestly. You don't need to be an expert. But understanding the exact reason your baby is struggling with latching is what helps you get results. So for example, if your baby is struggling with keeping their tongue extended while feeding, it can feel like they're using their gums to bite your nipples. So you might hear people say, oh, well, they can stick their tongue out. And it's like, yes, they might be able to stick their tongue out briefly, but can they keep it out when they're feeding? And if not, and they're retracting their tongue to elevate it, then they could be using their gums to do what feels like biting your nipples versus keeping their tongue extended when elevating. And so that's kind of some small things that we need to understand could be happening on the inside of our baby's latch. So focusing on changing feeding positions can sometimes help, but not if you don't know how to help them improve their tongue extension and elevation. And so we have to have this like full body approach that we're looking at to understand exactly what is not working. And that can make it feel like this is really overwhelming. But the truth is, a lot of the things you're being told to try are not solutions that match the problem. So it's like fitting a square peg in a round hole or a round hole in a square peg. What is that saying? I don't know what that saying is. So I probably shouldn't have been saying it. But what I'm trying to say is that we need to understand the root cause of the problem. And you've heard me talk about that a lot, right? Understanding exactly how your baby is supposed to latch and not just saying, oh, a wide mouth and include areola is really important. This is exactly what I teach moms inside my Latching with Confidence class, which is built into the Confident Mama Breastfeeding Academy, and in my one-on-one consults. So in prenatal consults for pregnant moms who want to breastfeed, I talk to them about how to work with their baby's reflexes to get that latch, to get that good first latch. And there are pictures and explanations on using your baby's reflexes to get that great latch. But sometimes it does go a little bit deeper, and having the right support to help you navigate that can be really important. So what are you supposed to do? You're like, all right, Jamie told me breastfeeding's not supposed to hurt. And then she rambled about all the reasons it could be hurting, but she's not telling me what to do. I'm getting to that now. So first of all, you need to identify the root cause. I know you've heard me say this a million times, but we need to identify the root cause of your baby's latching issues. Is it a simple position change? Is it some type of neurological thing going on? Does it have some type of relation to how the baby was positioned in utero, or how the baby was born, or birth trauma? There is so much stuff that we look at to understand why a baby's struggling with latching. Number 2, you need to create a plan to work with your baby's design to implement tailored solutions. What does that mean, Jamie? Stop speaking another language. I gotcha. It means that you're going to use reflexive latching techniques and intuitive feeding approaches. We want to stop using control-based feeding methods and start using these intuitive and reflexive methods to work with our baby. Now, if that's still not working and those simple changes still don't work, it still does not mean you're broken. It means you need support that cares. It means you need support that understands, and you need support that can look at the full picture. I actually had a client who I worked with virtually, and when I work virtually with clients, they send me videos of certain things that I ask them to send me videos of. And we're examining baby's mouth through these videos, and I'm looking at some things, and I'm like, okay, this is looking pretty good. Like, there's nothing screaming at me. There's nothing super standing out. I know there could still be a lot of things, like this is just one snippet of it, and I still have to talk to this mom and read her full report, her full history, but I can't figure out, based off these videos, I don't have anything screaming at me. So I was like, I wonder if it's possible that this baby was a C-section and was like breech or in another weird position in utero. And the reason I thought that is because when I'm looking at how a baby functions, I'm looking at the full picture, and the full picture includes pregnancy and birth. And lo and behold, I pulled open her chart and she had a C-section and a breech presentation. And it doesn't mean that that is like the one thing that's causing feeding issues. And it doesn't mean that if you have a C-section that you're going to have feeding issues. But it is a thing. It is a part of the puzzle. And it was really interesting to just kind of be like, this is why this holistic model of care is so important. Because we start seeing pieces of this puzzle, and we're putting them together, and we see the puzzle come together, and then we can understand why there's feeding issues. So many providers are just looking at, you do a puzzle and you're trying to get that picture, but if you don't start with the end pieces and work your way in, it can be really, really hard, because it's like, well, we don't even know where to start. So then we just like start putting random things together. And that's what some providers do when it comes to breastfeeding support. They just grab random pieces and force them together. And it's like, that's probably not the best way to go about this. And that's probably not the full picture. So if you don't know what the puzzle pieces are, like if we were doing a puzzle that you didn't have the print of what it's supposed to look like, and you're trying to put pieces together that don't go together, you're not going to get answers. You're not going to get results. And that's why a holistic view and a holistic approach is so important, because it's not just taking things at face value, it's digging deeper. That's a whole lot of rambling, and I hope that made sense to you. So if you feel like you don't trust anyone around you to help you get answers, first, I want you to know that you are not alone. You are not alone. You are totally justified in feeling like people have let you down, because they have. And you are totally justified in your feelings about breastfeeding are totally valid. And it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're not meant to breastfeed. It doesn't mean your baby's broken. Even if they do have something like a tongue tie, like they're not broken. We just need to help them. You're also not out of options. You're not out of options. I think this is the most important thing for moms to learn as soon as possible. In pregnancy, ideally. But if you don't learn it in pregnancy, you're going to learn it as a brand new mom. And if you still don't learn it as a brand new mom, it's coming for you. It's coming for you. And it is self-advocacy. It is advocating for you. It is advocating for your baby. It is saying it's okay to get a second opinion. You don't owe your healthcare providers any loyalty. if they are not listening to you and if you feel like you're not being heard and you're not getting answers. So sometimes answers are really hard to find. Sometimes we really do have to do a lot of work and dig deep. But during that process, you should not be feeling brushed off. You should not be feeling ignored. You should not be feeling gaslit. You should be encouraged to trust your instincts. You should be encouraged that you are the expert on your baby. And this might take time and this might not be easy, but answers do exist and you will have someone walking with you every step to find those answers. And if your provider is not giving you that kind of support, it's okay to get support from somebody else. And this is exactly why I offer virtual consultations. And I know a lot of people think that's crazy, but like I told you, I worked with a mom today with a virtual consultation because she's in a remote area where they don't have access to proper and adequate support. This is exactly why I offer virtual lactation consultations, to help you get to the root cause of your breastfeeding issues and implement solutions that work, no matter where you're located. You no longer have the excuse of, I can't find somebody who cares. You no longer have the excuse of, my town only has one lactation consultant and she sucks and she's a bitch and she told me really mean things and ignored me. Yeah, that one was a little personal, sorry. And do you want to know something really cool about virtual lactation consults? They're often covered by most major insurance plans. So if you are ready to start enjoying breastfeeding instead of dreading each feed, I want you to visit littlebearlactation.com/virtual lactation consultant, or you can click the link in the bio or show notes. Bio. We're not on Instagram. Click the link in the show notes to learn more on that. All right, Mama Bear, that is a wrap for today. If this episode helped you feel a little more confident or a little more prepared for breastfeeding, can I ask you a quick favor? Go ahead and leave me a review. It helps other moms find this podcast and join us in this amazing community of fierce and confident Mama Bears. And hey, if you know a friend who could use some encouragement or real talk about pregnancy, breastfeeding, and all things motherhood, share this episode with her. You've got this, Mama Bear. Trust your instincts, stay fierce, and I'll catch you in the next episode.